Hey, it's Tony Sweet right here at Contact in the Desert. For truth be told, we have Captain Ron here, but he's on the other side of the camera. We have an amazing guest that was just on our show just a few months ago, Stephen Bassett, and we're going to talk about what you're talking about here at Contact, disclosure. So tell us what the topic is, and maybe our audience hasn't heard before.
Well, it's significant that this year the theme for the conference was called Disclosure. Right. There's a lot of it here and a lot of other things. Right. It's a 6-track conference, 60 speakers, huge resort, 3,000 people here. It's a big deal. Yeah. And there's more coming. Alien Con is having their annual fest. It's a combination between a UFO event and a Comic-Con at Pasadena Convention Center, 15th to the 17th of June, 20,000 people. Oh my gosh, yeah. And again, disclosure is going to be prominent there. And then in June the 30th, I'm going up to Vancouver, Canada, another disclosure event. This is the Architects of the New Paradigm, June 30, the Sheraton there. And you can find that on Architects of the New Paradigm. Just put that in and you find it on the web. And Cameron's going to be there. Richard Dolan's going to be there. Victor Vigiani, Linda Moulton Howe, but several other pretty strong, and Danny Sheehan and so forth. Oh, great. So again, it's just the disclosure is having its 15 minutes of fame. Right. Finally. Yes. Only took me about 20 years to get it there.
The overnight success.
Yeah, I'm kind of the person I think that really started putting that phrase out there, mostly on Art Bell, to get away from. First, it was. Well, UFOs, which I hate, and it was politics of UFOs. And then it was the politics of disclosure, meaning the politics of the disclosure process. Right. And then it became disclosure, the event. And, I worked hard to do that because we need new language. When you're dealing with a government-imposed propaganda situation, they usually develop language that's designed to keep you in the ghetto, as I like to say, the intellectual ghetto. So you come up with new language, and it helps you move forward. So this event has gone well. I have built a lecture up for about 4 months now. I've given 8 of them, and I've got it perfected, and it really is strong. But I had a glitch. There was a compatibility with PowerPoint. I was only able to give a half of it in the lecture, but I produced most of the other half in the workshop. Right. But I'm hoping I'm going to be able to do the entire thing at the Roswell Museum. Oh, that's great. In the Roswell thing.
Into June and
yeah,
July?
That'll be my next chance. And this is all about the political realities around this issue since 1993, and right. The Clintons all the way through the citizen hearing, all the way through the election campaign, and then picking up with the To the Stars Academy developments. This is an extraordinary period, but the last 5 years has been really extraordinary.
Why is that?
Because the citizen hearing was successful. We had 42 witnesses, 6 former members of Congress, a mock congressional hearing, the ballroom of the National Press Club, 2 blocks from the Capitol, filmed everything, live streamed it, and then delivered the evidence from that mock hearing to the entire House and Senate, including evidence, testimony about Hillary Clinton's connection to the issue. Right. So, and that led to a massive media coverage of her and her ET connection throughout the campaign, which could have triggered disclosure if the debates had asked about it, if the moderators of the debates had asked about this national story that's all over. They didn't, to their everlasting disgrace. She decided she was clear. She was going to coast to the White House, at which point the media was all ready to jump on her, which she wanted. Right. Because if you're going to crack the Pentagon, it helps to have massive media behind you. Right. It was all set up, and then the election blew it all up. After that, I eventually went to London to make some contacts there, and right away was invited to give an interview in Moscow. I went there and talked on Russian soil, on Russian media for the very first time about the exopolitics of Putin and Putin being the disclosure president. And those videos are on my website now, paradigmresearchgroup.org. So and then of course the To the Stars Academy, which is the second half of my lecture, the emergence of this team of people, all out of the military intelligence complex. They've released gun camera footage, major stories in the New York Times. That is new. That's unprecedented. We don't know who authorized them. We don't know how many people are behind them, but we've heard as many as 30 inside the Pentagon and the CIA. How they got authorization, we don't know. How high, we don't know. But whatever, right now, the truth of the matter is, and I thought I would never say this, is that the leader of the disclosure advocacy movement right now is the military intelligence complex.
Wow.
How about that?
That is amazing. And I want to jump back just right. Yeah, we wouldn't think that would be.
Upside down, but
Yeah.
they've joined the party, and the reason they did it was they were pretty convinced Clinton was going to win. She was going to disclose. There was all these comments they were making in her campaign, all the news articles, and they get, hey, this is coming. We need to get out in front. We need to do something. We can't just be sitting there holding the bag.
Right.
Because if we don't do anything,
Then they look bad.
they look even worse. Right. And they know that the politicians are going to throw them under the bus, going to blame everything on them. And so they decided we're going to make a move. And they put together a very interesting program, got it out there, and clearly have shown that they have the ability to release information that could really drive this process. It got slowed down because of the election. I think it delayed the announcement by 10 months. But they did announce there's more coming. And that is why, right now, they are, in fact, out in front. And I'm just drafting behind their race car, just trying to, get pulled along.
Right.
So Tom DeLonge is the CEO, and then this extraordinary 10-person team, which is easily found on To the Stars Academy website. Just Google To the Stars Academy. People need to do this. So these are extraordinary, unprecedented developments, and I think it wouldn't take much more of this for something to break inside, and we get a deal between the Pentagon, the White House, and the president, whoever that president is.
Well, can I
The announcement.
can I ask you this though? Just because Hillary didn't win, she still has a lot of political power and clout. Why didn't she still come out with this information? Because she usually when presidents come in office, they sign an agreement.
Reasonable question. Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton could give an interview to Maureen Dowd tomorrow, 2 or 3 hours, talk about the Rockefeller Initiative being stonewalled, what they've learned, what they know, blow the whole thing sky high. But guess what? Who gets to be disclosure president?
I guess they're trying to wait to.
And she has no love lost for this man. So they got a bit of a dilemma. So that's why they're not talking. Podesta, though, did finally turn up again, and he was in the opening premiere of Ancient Aliens, which was about disclosure. And I was heavily in it as well. And in there, without saying the words, he virtually acknowledged the Rockefeller Initiative. So apparently, he was prepared to do that, which means that they want to make sure that the connection remains in the public mind, but they're careful. They're not gonna do something that would blow the story up. And then, but just to make sure that the Pentagon and the White House, or particularly the Pentagon, doesn't get too complacent about this. Again, I did the interview in Moscow. I talked about Putin and exopolitics. Nobody had ever done this in Russian media or on Russian soil.
I was going to say, how was that received?
Great. Well, went fine. I had 6 meetings with 6 groups there, many involved had been former military and level officials in the Soviet government, Russian government, to ensure that Putin would know I was there. I knew that CIA was going to know I was there. So basically, I come back and I eventually, because it took 5 months before I actually got the footage of this interview, and then I started putting it on the web. I even put a press release out that only the UK media picked up, but it's not over yet. And the whole point of this was, again, to drive home the point to the Pentagon, which I am happy is now getting involved in this. But don't take too long, because unless the Vladimir is on your payroll, unless he's working for you, he can tell the Russian people anytime he wants. And that is not going to, you think you're going to be thrown under the bus if Hillary Clinton were to win it? And you're going to have a big problem. And so you got to decide what you're going to do here. Plus, I'm also encouraging Putin to do it. Look, if Putin does it, it's a geopolitical, really major hit for the U.S. Short term, long term, it doesn't matter. Disclosure is about the whole world, the whole planet. The U.S. will recover from that embarrassment. But Putin will get enormous glory. It'll elevate Russia. And I still don't know why he hadn't done it. If I could get 5 minutes with him, the one thing I would ask him, I'd want to know, Vlad?
Buddy?
Vlad? Bro? Why haven't you announced it? Why have you not taken that brass ring? Be interesting to know what he says.
Well, it reminds me of JFK when he first announced trying to get to the moon before the Russians. So it's almost like the same boat. Is like who's gonna release the information first.
Vladimir Putin being the disclosure president, the first one, way bigger than us beating them to the moon. Right. Way bigger. That was cool. We made it to the moon. Big deal. 1,000 times more important. So talk about getting even. Though they had their victories too, right? The space race was kind of cool. It helped us get to space really quickly. Then it's amazing how little we did with that. But that's another story.
Yeah, kind of, as my dad would say, petered out.
Sort of. And it's not clear why, but I think I know why.
Well, disclosure, I think, is going to be important in our future, and I think it's very soon. I feel that we're going to really see some changes in our politics and in our religion as soon as this disclosure happens.
Well, yeah, but first we need change in the current politics. Oh, yeah. The timing of the next moves by the TSA to the Stars Academy is very much all dependent now on Robert Mueller and his report on this election. If the report doesn't come out by the end of August, I don't think they can drop it that close to the election, and not make the mistake, and not because they'd be making the same mistake that James Comey made, right. And with a lot more scrutiny, which means he couldn't drop it until after the election, December. He could drop if there's a finished component of the election of the investigation, he could possibly drop that. I don't think that's what they prefer to do. So depending upon when that report's come down, which is what's going to trigger everything that follows, the To the Stars Academy are going to adjust their timing accordingly. And the next push, the next major developments will be dependent on that as well. But there's still ample possibilities for disclosure in 2019, early 2019.
We hope. I mean, we're here at Truth Be Told. That's what we're wanting, and people like yourself is really pushing the envelope to make these people finally make that decision.
I do what I can. I'm just a poor political activist who never practiced the guitar, so I didn't sell 30 million records. Damn it.
I just keep giving away the CD that nobody wants to purchase.
Yeah, right. And I didn't even make a CD. I just didn't practice. I didn't have the patience for it. And kind of wish I had. But I went and got a degree in physics, which has been helpful for me to understand what the hell is going on, but not be a physicist. Believe me, I'm not a physicist.
Well, okay, so Stephen, how do people follow you, find you, and find out more about maybe future disclosures? My
new website, remodeled website, paradigmresearchgroup.org, is really fun to use. It's got a tremendous amount of material, more coming all the time. It's got a blog, Disclosure Wire, paradigmresearchgroup.org, or Google my name, Stephen Bassett. It comes right up. Go there, subscribe to the update. We have a fundraising section. I also have a GoFundMe. The links are there. All support is helpful. Again, because I was terrible at the guitar. And that's how you reach me. And also, there is a documentary that we have in pre-production. We're pulling the crowdfunding because it's hard to get any attention now. But we're going to be doing private inquiries for maybe a major donor backer. It's called Disclosure. The website for it is disclosure.film. And we have a teaser, not a trailer, up there that shows how we're trying to reach out to a larger audience. Everybody seems to like it. So check out the documentary Disclosure. If we can get 100,000 from some high consciousness, highly successful person, maybe 100,000, we could, in fact, start the production.
That's great.
But until then, we can't do that. There's 55 interviews on the slate.
Wow.
And every one of them is important.
Yeah.
If we can get 2/3 of that, we'll have a fantastic documentary. If we get them all, it's going to be major. And we got a $600,000 budget, and we're looking for theatrical distribution. We're not going to settle for selling it off to a TV venue and for a simple reason. In all of these years, not a single documentary about the ET issue has ever gotten theatrical distribution. I don't mean some rented theater, even though it's the biggest issue in the world. Dolphins have had dozens of documentaries. Well, I don't know if they made the big screen, but Michael Moore did it with a subject of importance, highest documentary, political documentary ever. And I think we can do it on this issue, but we're going to have to get a backer of substance. We'll see.
This is what hopefully our Truth Be Told fans and listeners will maybe go and help it out.
Particularly your incredibly successful hedge fund Truth Be Told fans. Yeah, definitely call me. Text me.
Right.
Have your people call my people.
Well, you know, Captain
My
Ron.
number is on the website. Yeah?
So you know, Captain Ron is a trust fund baby. So,
I always knew that.
well, Stephen Bassett, thank you so much. We really appreciate you. This is Tony Sweet and Captain Ron at Contact in the Desert. This is Truth Be Told.